Hello everybody, my name is Nerdy Lover and welcome to another episode of our football betting series here on YouTube, Premier League edition. Both weeks 1 and week 2 got off to good starts, but we've started to hit a rocky patch of form as we did only go 1 for 3 last episode. Hopefully going to turn that around with our predictions for this weekend coming up. I do have a quick disclaimer before we get into the predictions for the weekend. I am aware there are midweek matches going on in the Premiership, but because this is my hobby and not my full-time job, I just can't produce enough videos. So it's going to be one a week for the Premier League. I would love to do 2 episodes, but alas, time constraints are a real thing. So let's quickly recap the games. Brighton played Brentford. We wanted over 2.5 goals. It did finish 2-0 to Brentford, and there were a couple chances where we could have seen this pay dividends, especially because Wolves and Forest finished 1-0 to Wolves, under 3.5. We did take a £20 hit there, and it would have been a nice little pickup at odds of 1.34. However, we did redeem ourselves somewhat slightly, as Arsenal did defeat Leeds narrowly by 1-0. Leeds were quite unfortunate to not pick any points up, especially with Patrick Bamford's penalty being saved. And then on a Sunday, we took Manchester City to beat Liverpool. When Man City scored their goal that was disallowed, I was so close to cashing out, but obviously the market was suspended. Liverpool turned things around. We did take a hit there. So we lost 2 bets and won. We took a 26.80 hit. We went 33% for the weekend. And as we look over here, our Premiership record has dropped slightly. We are now up over 2 units, £43.58, with a 63% win rate. So we're going to try and hopefully improve on that with these predictions coming up now. Starting things off, we have 20th place Nottingham Forest hosting 8th place Liverpool. Liverpool were delighted to pick up that 1-0 win against Manchester City, courtesy of Mohamed Salah, using his body well against the City defender, turning his man and dispatching coolly past Ederson to give the Reds the lead in a game that did only finish 1-0. This ended Liverpool's run of no win in their last 4 Premier League matches. Looking at the statistics, Liverpool averaged 2.3 goals per game from three key chances created per 90. Defence is starting to pick up a little bit, as they did secure their 3rd clean sheet of the year, although they do average 1.3 goals against. Nottingham Forest, as discussed earlier, did lose by 1-0 against Wolves, courtesy of both the Ruben Neves penalty, but also Jose Sarr saving Brennan Johnson's attempted equaliser from the spot. Forest are winless in their last 7 league fixtures. It's not hard to see why. They just can't score, averaging 0.7 goals per game, which is half of what you would expect from a 1.4 key chances per 90 created. They also conceded a rate of 2.3 goals per game. You can see why they're 20th. They do only have 1 clean sheet this season. It's an easy bet for me. You would like to take Liverpool, but they're a bit short. I'll be laying them for -1.5 on the Asian handicap line. Liverpool need to win by 2 clear goals for us to pick up the win here. Next up, 16th placed Aston Villa host 9th place Brentford. And following the defeat to Chelsea, Steven Gerrard was let go by the Villains. It was more courtesy to do with Tyrone Mings assisting for Mason Mount's opening goal. And the Blues ended up winning by 2-0 in fairly comfortable fashion. As stated, Gerrard was dismissed after 1 win in 8 games, and Villa are one of the lowest scoring sides in the division. They only score 0.7 goals per game from 1.5 key chances created. They haven't really figured things out defensively, conceding at a rate of double that of their goals scored, 1.4. The away side Brentford have been a bit up and down so far this year. One of the neutrals' favourites. They did pick up a 2-0 win against Brighton on Friday, ending a brief 3-game winless streak. When we zoom out a bit, the Bees have only lost 2 of their last 7, and Thomas Frank's side does score 1.8 goals per game, and a strong 2.7 key chances created per 90. They do concede in equal measure, though. They do concede 1.7 goals per game, and have managed 3 clean sheets. Aston Villa and Brentford have only played each other 8 times in their history, and Villa have never beaten Brentford. Brentford have won 4 of the 8 games, with the other 4 being draws. From this form and the statistics on the 2 sides, I think it's pretty safe to lay Aston Villa at home, thinking Brentford will pick up at least a point on their travels to Birmingham. Our third selection Takes us from Birmingham across to Yorkshire, as 16th place Leeds host 11th place Fulham. Leeds would feel unlucky to have not taken at least a point against Arsenal. They did lose by 1-0. They did miss a penalty. This does continue a run of no wins in their last 5 league matches, and Leeds do score 1.2 goals from 2.2 key chances created. Defensively, they do concede at a worse clip of 1.4 goals per game. Leeds have a reputation of goals in their matches, as they do score and concede quite a few. Over 2.5 goals has come in 5 of their 9 league games this season, and the visitors Fulham may feel a bit disappointed to draw 2-2 against Bournemouth in their last home match, in a game in which the Cottagers dominated in possession and shots. They did not make these shots count, and Bournemouth were the more clinical of the two sides. This does leave the side from West London winless in their last 3 games, conceding 9 in that time. Fulham are another side with a reputation for goals both for and against, with each of their last 8 and 9 of their last 10 matches seeing over 2.5 goals. Fulham do average 1.6 goals for, and they are actually outperforming their key chances created of 1.5. Defensively, they do concede on average 2 goals per game with just a single clean sheet to their name, so we're thinking goals in this match. Taking a look at the head-to-head record, 4 of the last 5 games between these two sides have seen over 2.5 goals, so it's looking like quite a good bet for us. A quick bit of maths will tell us we have an expected goals tally of roughly 3.1 goals. If you're feeling frisky, you could go for over 3.5 goals, as this tally has been reached in 30% of Leeds games this season, 60% of Fulham's. Now, I'm not quite that brave, so I'm going to be taking over 2.5 goals here in a single in bet number 3. Our 4th and final selection sees West Ham in 12th hosting 10th place Bournemouth, and West Ham came from behind to pick up a point at St Mary's in their last game against Southampton. This did end a run of 4 wins in a row in all competitions, but we can say they're unbeaten in their last 5. West Ham's scoring is perhaps a bit disappointing at 0.9 goals per game from 1.4 key chances created. This is almost half that of last year's mark, which was 1.6 goals from 1.9 key chances created. This has shown a decline in creativity and the ability to finish chances this season, but West Ham are slowly but surely turning things around. They do concede a tally of 1.1 goals per game, which isn't too bad, but only 2 clean sheets from this point in the season leaves something to be desired. The away side Bournemouth will feel pleased with their 2-2 result against Fulham. Despite giving up a 2-1 lead, they did manage to hang on in the end of the game, in which they faced 19 shots. But credit where it's due, Bournemouth converted 2 of their 3 clear goal-scoring opportunities to take away a valuable point from our nation's capital. This does mean that Bournemouth have not tasted defeat in each of their last 6 matches since their 9-0 demolition at the hands of Liverpool and since the sacking of Scott Parker. Statistically, Bournemouth do score 1 goal per game, which actually outperforms their tally of 0.8 key chances created per 90. Defence is the main issue though. They do concede an average of 2.2 per 90. But if we take the Liverpool game out of consideration, this number does drop dramatically down to 1.3 goals against per 90. My logic is that West Ham have largely recovered from a slow start, and Bournemouth cannot be expected to continue to outperform their expected goals numbers. I'm going to be taking the Irons to win here at the London Stadium in our final bet of the episode. And with that, we're going to quickly jump across to the spreadsheet to have a little recap of the matches that we have chosen for this weekend, the 22nd and 23rd of October. So there we have it. We have 4 selections for you for this weekend. Starting things off with the first game on Saturday, Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. We're going to take Liverpool -1.5 on the Asian handicap. This does mean that Liverpool have to win by 2 goals or more. At 0.68, we can see a return of £13.60 from our £20 stake. Following things up on the Saturday, we have Aston Villa versus Brentford. We will be saying that Aston Villa will fail to win in this fixture. They may have a new manager at this point in time. If not, they're going to have a caretaker manager against the Brentford side that has been inconsistent, but has not lost to Aston Villa in their last 8 meetings. Pretty generous odds of 0.95, £20 stake to return 19. Whilst that game is being played, Leeds will also be playing Fulham. We're hoping for goals. We're going to take over 2.5 goals at 0.79, £20 stake to return 15.80. And on the Monday evening, West Ham finish up the match day against Bournemouth at home. Odds of 0.6 for West Ham to pick up the win, £20 stake to return 12. So over the weekend, we're going to be risking £80 to hopefully pick up £60 and 40 pence. Will we do so? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to tune into next episode. But until then, if you made it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below. My name's been Nerdy Lover, and as always, have yourself a lovely day.